Daria, thank you so much for tuning in today. And everyone who's watching this, I'm Shivam and welcome to AIM Agile YouTube channel. And I'm so glad to have Daria with me uh, who has agreed to spare time on a weekday to have this fruitful discussion. So Daria, thank you so much for joining in. I know a bit about you, but if you can introduce yourself for everyone who's watching this.
Thank you, Shivam, for this warm welcome. Yeah, my name is Daria Isaeva. I'm working as a Scrum Master and living in Switzerland. So I work for the biggest telecom provider in Switzerland, and we've been using Scrum for around 5 years. So I would like to share my experience in that. And as a Scrum Master, I'm just 1 year, so it's still fresh and I'm still learning, but I'll still try to get some insightful information for you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Daria. And I know that you come from a technical background. You have worked in DevOps and as a test engineer as well. So till now, how do you find, how has been your Scrum journey so far from a technical background to a Scrum, which I believe is a people-oriented role, which we'll discuss a little bit later in the discussion. But till now, how has been your journey?
So when I first heard about Scrum and that there is a possibility to try it in a real team, because the transformation happens not in a big company, it doesn't happen from one day to another. And I had this chance and I thought, okay, I would love to go there. And I joined as a DevOps engineer. So I was able to work on the task as a developer. I was not programming, but testing was my experience that I was bringing into the team, and different collaboration with business analysis, things like that. So I saw it from this perspective. And also I was studying, I made a study for product owner, a 2 days course. So I could see it also from this perspective. What are the main challenges of this role? And then after a while, I understood, okay, the technical stuff is something really good and the technologies, they developing so quick. And I had a feeling I have more passion in helping people, being this servant leader, supporting someone, coaching, mentoring. And that is why when I saw the Scrum Master role and the chance to try it, I thought I have to do this. And that is how I came from technical background to this more people-oriented, process-oriented role.
That's so great to hear, Daria. And you mentioned two very worthy points, one on servant leadership, which I'll discuss. But before that, just would like to ask you, because Scrum Master, generally all the job descriptions that I see, especially in India, they always say that you need to have 2 years, 3 years of work experience. And then there's a resistance for new Scrum Masters to start. So how was your journey? Did you find it tough, or was it easier for you to start off as a Scrum Master?
So that was exactly the same point. Any description that was within the company, even, it needed an experience and hands-on experience. 1 year, it doesn't matter how much, but I didn't have it. And what I did, and I was also, when talking to colleagues that would like to switch to a Scrum Master position, this is also the advice that I usually give. There are always possibilities where you can try within your own team. For example, Scrum Master goes on vacation, you can be a deputy and maybe run a retro for once and see how you feel. You will understand already whether something might be something for you or it's totally something outside of your comfort zone and your interest. And I also had a chance, because within the company, people were looking for a person who can support during the PI planning. So a bigger event where the team needed a Scrum Master during this particular 2 days. And I said, yeah, I want to do that. And I think that was the best decision, because it kind of gives you a chance to get the essence of what Scrum Master is. Because you are there with the team, helping them, supporting them, doing the time boxing and working as a team, like in really short time box. And I loved that. And then I could say, see, I have this experience. Yes, it's not 1 year, but you should take it because you should take me because I loved it. And it worked. Yeah. Then I got a position for that.
Yeah.
An official Scrum Master position. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great advice, because even I feel that if you are in the same organization over there, if you try, it becomes easier, because I mean, for example, I was from a PMP background, into hardcore into project management stuff. And when I got an opportunity to join a Scrum team, so it's much easier if you are doing it within your organization. So completely get that. And I think that's a great tip for anyone who's watching this and want to be a Scrum Master. Try to explore opportunities within the organization itself. That
Yeah.
being said, Arya, you talked about servant leadership, that you were keen on helping people, mentoring people. So how has
Mhm.
been your journey as a people manager been so far? And just a little bit about servant leadership. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a people manager for sure. Yes, management is part of this, one of the stances of the Scrum Master. And yeah, this is the change from what we get used with command and control. Yeah, before this line management, team leadership, and with the Agile and Scrum, we move direction lean management, where you enable people to take this responsibility, be responsible for the decisions, for the results. And servant leadership, for me, it means being a facilitator, to be there and see if the discussion going in a constructive way, helping people to get the best use of the time, things like that. Also coaching people in case they have questions to the Scrum itself. Uh, it can be anything. If you have the knowledge, for example, in facilitation, you can share this know-how with any of the team member. If someone would like to try Scrum Master role, yeah, you're also there to help people and ramp them up. So I really see it not as sometimes or quite often I hear, yeah, administrator, Scrum Master is someone who creates, I don't know, gets the accesses for everyone in the team, does the boring stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend to go this way, because the Scrum Master can really be something bigger, something that brings the team to the next level. Not by doing the job instead of them, but giving and enabling people to
Exactly.
reach for more. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I think we always, when it comes to Scrum, we talk about developing high performing and self-organizing team. I mean, in terms of English language, I mean, that sounds really easy, but to get the team to actually a high performing level, it takes a lot. And that's where I think servant leadership as a leadership concept is budding nowadays. From the
Mhm.
traditional ways of leadership that we have known, like autocratic or charismatic forms of leadership. Do you have any opinion on that? Like, how would you say a servant leadership is different from the established forms of leadership?
I would say it is funny, because I was talking to a colleague of mine today that um, especially for the management people, it's quite hard to do this mindset change, that you're not there to control and to kick someone to do the job. Yeah, you're there to take the responsibility from yourself and give it to someone else to help and raise this self-organization. And yeah, because people not always, I think the challenge is actually on both sides, on the team itself and on the management side, because the team are not used, sometimes is not used to take this responsibility. What should I do? There is no one who will tell me what is there, what should I do as next. It
Yeah.
has to be defined within the team. This is the challenge for on the team level, and for the management, not to go there and, I don't know, ask about the velocity, how to give the advices, how the team can increase the throughput, things like that. It's really giving it to the team, because they know the best how to organize their work. And yeah,
Yeah, I can,
does
I
it answer the
can, I can so relate to that. Like you said, though, the challenge is twofold. One from the team's perspective, because I can so relate to that, because I was a people manager earlier to this, like when I was into project management. So I had one team for project management, another team for operations management, and approximately 35 people rolled up to me. And from there
Mhm.
to be in a Scrum team, like I see this so often that team members, sometimes they're not ready to take up that ownership because the mindset is not there. That's the first side of the problem. The second side of the problem is with regard to the management, because even the management or the leadership is also not accustomed to such methods. So I so completely get that, and I can so relate with that. Thank you so much for bringing that up. And you also mentioned that you explored product owner role, and then you realize that, okay, you are a better fit for Scrum Master. So would you like to elaborate on the relationship between a Scrum Master and a product owner, and how to foster a healthy relationship between these two important stakeholders?
Yeah, I would say at least what I'm doing with my PO is definitely to have the same vision, to have this alignment and the idea where the team and the product should go, and to have this clear definition between the roles, what Scrum Master should do, what are the responsibilities, and what are the responsibilities of the product owner. And also this feedback loop that should be there, regular exchange, how you think about what you wish for your product owner, what the product owner wishes you could do more for the team. This is also important because you can get this another perspective from someone else, can give you a hint, from another role, but still within the same team.
Yeah. And in this regard, there is a very important ceremony, in my opinion, that is the backlog grooming, where a lot of alignment takes place. So any thoughts on backlog grooming in the importance of the ceremony when it comes to alignment with what we really want from as an output of the sprint?
Yeah, we call it backlog refinement, but I think we talk about the same. I find it's a crucial event for the outcome, as you said, because, and it is also a challenge on our product that we are building, to have the clarity what exactly should be there before people can start and work on the implementation. Because it has to be clear, at least for those 2 weeks, what people will be doing, and they can come up with ideas how, but at least what is expected should be there. And that is the goal of the backlog refinement grooming, and we do it on a regular basis, depending, it's not necessarily for the whole team. You can have, depending on the topic, different people involved, but also for everyone, it's a great opportunity to learn, what is coming, what will be there in future, and basically make an impact on how it will be implemented. Because, I love this idea that everyone can bring, the solution and really make an impact on the product with Scrum.
Yeah. And Daria, wanted to ask you, because I have seen this, so just wanted to take your perspective, that sometimes I've felt that the product owner may not be from a technical background. So sometimes there's a friction between the product owner and the developers. I think it's a common across. I don't know in your case, but this is something I've seen way often in India. So have you seen such instances? And if yes, then as a Scrum Master, how do you go around that and resolve that?
And with friction, you mean what exactly?
Means for example, the product owner has a different goal per se, but at the same time, the developer thinks that, okay, this can be done in a better way, or maybe this is not a priority right now. So there's some disconnect between the two people, especially with senior developers and the product owner. There's something I've noticed. So have you faced such situation?
In our case, maybe it's a bit different because our product owner is not exactly from the technical background. So he couldn't, even if he wanted, he wouldn't be able to give the advices to senior developers or any developer how to implement any of the feature or the story, which is probably the benefit. And I think if there is the case, it can be a good place for growth for both sides to, to have this conflict from which the good solution will be coming. In our case, it's really we don't have this challenge as product owners really there to bring the vision, and it's up to dev team to find the solution.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I can understand. And I mean, that happens sometimes. And then as a Scrum Master, I think people skill comes into play in such situations, right? When we see disconnect and trying to ensure that we stick to our goal and not caught up in our differences, yeah, and try to resolve them. That being said, Daria, something very interesting that I found on your profile is that how you use agile principles in personal life. And this is something very, very close to my heart because I try to do the same all the time. So I would like to hear your perspective on it and how it has helped you evolve as an individual.
I love this topic, so you can interrupt me if I talk too much. Because yeah, I like the idea of Scrum and Agile, you know, these sprints, the time box time, and an increment at the end. And what I do in my personal planning, I took the inspiration, the idea, and I adjusted. Basically every week on Sunday, I have my personal planning, and my sprints are 1 week long. That means I have 3 goals, which is first is the career, what I want to achieve in 1 week in my career. The second is my personal development, physical, like training, fitness, I don't know, yoga, stuff like that, or some of your interests, like, I don't know, learning a facilitator skill or a new language. And the third is the relationship. It is something that I plan to do with my family, because to have this work and life balance, something to do with my husband, or like the travel with the family, anything, any experience, or maybe the meetups with the friends. Sometimes it needs to be planned in order to make it happen. You know, it doesn't happen, especially recently, it didn't happen that often that people could meet spontaneously. So it has to be arranged. And yeah, every week I start with this planning and define the goals. And at the end of the week, I do kind of a retro look back, what was achieved, what blocked me, what I learned, and to whom I'm thankful for this week, which is also very important, I think, to give it back to the people who helped you or who supported you on the way.
Yeah.
This is shortly about the idea.
I simply love this because it's so important to inspect and adapt in your personal life for continuous improvement. I think we can, it's like a blueprint to apply on your own personal life. And I so get it. So do you use a board as well to manage your personal sprint?
I'm not yet there on this level, but we were joking with my husband, like, we have to make the board for the whole family. I call it my personal agile team to have this Kanban board or Scrum boards, and to put there, to have it visual. Something for the future. But I have actually this idea is not that something I invented. There is a woman called Catherine Lengold. She lives in USA and she comes originally from Russia, as I do, and she also she come up with this idea to implement the sprints, and I'm using like the notebook in a special format. So I have it on paper. I love to write. For me, it's important that I can do it physically with my hands, and that is how I do. I would say it's quite easy to organize for anyone who likes the idea to come up with and visualize or make such notes.
Yeah, I can so understand that. And by the way, I use a board, like there's an app called Trello. So I use it on a daily basis. Yeah. And sometimes people around me find me too geeky, but then I am always surrounded by such applications trying to streamline my life. Yeah. And
I also love Trello. It's very handy app. Yeah.
Yes, it's handy and it's cool, right? Like I use Jira in my workplace, so it's very serious and formal. Trello is kind of cool. So that being said, Daria, any last tips that you would want to give for someone who has started their Scrum Master journey recently?
Well, that's a tricky one. I would say what helped me, especially an exchange with the colleagues, because this is definitely the best audience that can help you. Mm-hmm. It can be people found on LinkedIn, Instagram. There are plenty of communities out there, YouTube. So just go to the people. If you see Shivam, for example, channel on YouTube, go and ask, because I think it's the best way when you can learn from real people, and people are usually open to share the experience. Yeah. So don't be shy and just try it. Try, and then you're not going to stop because you will love it if it's something for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is how I guess I came across you, because this is something I have been trying. I mean, like, you are giving this advice now, but I've been implementing this advice. And I've been trying to reach out to a lot of people to understand their journey, their perspective, because there's so much to share from each other. And that's how we collaborate and learn from others' experience, right? So that being said, Daria, thank you so much for sparing time and sharing your experience with us. And yeah, so I'm so glad and honored to host you.
That was really a pleasure, Shivam, and I'm really glad that I could join. And thank you for inviting me. That was a very great experience.
I think there is, in today's time and age, I mean, there is no restriction. I think we can. There's so many ways to connect with people, and I think we should leverage the power of social media and do all of this more often.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And go and try it. Just try it and see what happens.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I will be hosting more industry leaders from the world of Agile. I'll also be discussing practice questions and tips and tricks for PMP and Scrum. And I'll also be conducting mock interviews on this channel. So if all of that interests you, then please hit the subscribe button. And until we meet again, this is Shivam signing out. Thank you.